Okay,
Yeah.
so you are from Kansas City, Missouri.
I am Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, let's do two things. One, kind of hit me with like who you are, what you're known for, because you've got some really cool stories to tell. We were
Yeah.
talking before this about
Yeah.
these really cool people that you're associated with that you don't even think twice about, and the rest of us are like starstruck by. So give us kind of like the quick rundown, and then we'll get into all the details of it, of
Okay.
like who you are, what you're doing, and then let's get into, okay, back it up. Let's go to childhood,
Okay.
growing up here, and tell us what that was like about growing up here.
Okay, well, my name is Courtney, Big Court Richardson the second. I'm born and raised here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm from the 40s. I'm from the faux block.
Okay.
I went to Northeast High School. That's where I graduated. And I started in the entertainment business as far back as the early 90s.
Okay.
You know, I got my first record deal in 1995 with No Limit Records,
Okay.
Master P. We were the first group, my partner and I, Cisco, CCG, we were the first rappers to bring a gold plaque back to Kansas City. We were the first rappers to do that.
And let's just real quickly, Master P.
Yes,
like
Master
that.
P.
That is the name
Yes.
that we were just talking about. Like one of the
Yes.
two people in particular. That
Absolutely,
Is like, yeah.
absolutely.
So we'll get into that later, like how that
Yeah.
all came to be, because that's
And
pretty
so
incredible.
people knew me as Court Dog back in the day as
Okay.
a rapper when I still lived here. And then I moved to LA in the early 2000s and transitioned into, producing and different arenas of business.
Yeah.
And I've been in LA ever since. And so I worked as an executive with No Limit Records for many years. I worked with Master P in different capacities. Also, and now currently, I have one of the most popular podcasts in the space, Holdin Court Podcast with Revolt TV.
Yep.
And I am the founder of OG Network along with my iconic co-founder, Ice-T.
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 Amazing.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So how does a kid from Kansas City, Missouri
Yes.
make his way, like how did this all begin? How did you get into the world of, music or producing or entertainment? Like how did that kind of make its journey for
Well,
you?
the short version, I have to give
Yeah.
you a condensed version. I was always an artistic kid.
Yeah.
I could draw really well. I could write poetry. I used to write my mom poems.
Oh.
And so I think that, once hip hop emerged in the late 80s, we kind of got hip to that. That influence came in. And I think it was a natural transition to start getting into some type of written expression.
Love that.
And so when NWA, Ghetto Boys, I was influenced by a lot of the gangster rap. Ironically, the first gangster rap record I ever heard was 1986, 87, Ice-T, Squeeze the Trigger. The
Really?
irony of that. Yes. The
On a
irony.
cassette tape?
On a cassette tape. The irony of that.
Let's date ourselves here.
Yeah, exactly. So who would have thought, I'm 10, 11 years old, that years later I would be in business with him, right?
Did that even cross your mind? Was it like
no. Not,
maybe someday?
No.
Yeah.
Not ever. And so I got into doing music in high school, and I had a child really early. So I had my oldest daughter, who's the co-host of Holdin Court Podcast, Rachel Renee. I had her when I was 16.
Okay. And she's very beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Watching her
Thank
on
you.
social
Thank
media.
you. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, she's dope. So there was a sense of urgency, and then I had got in trouble with the law. I had went to jail at a young age, just growing up in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
As I always say, I was a follower of a destructive culture at the time, just impressionable, trying to fit in,
Sure.
And so I was like, oh, I have to do something. What do I want to do? I understood that at a young age. What do I want to do? What is my passion? So I started getting into music, and I don't know. I'm in the process of writing a book, and and the co-author of my book is Georgetta Foreman, who is George Foreman's daughter.
Okay.
And so we broke down my life in decades, and I'm saying this for a reason. It's like the 80s was the decade of innocence, discovery, imagination,
Yeah.
and you're shielded from the world. It was it was a way different time.
Yeah.
Great time. I wish we could go back to it.
Yeah. No kidding.
Coming into the 90s, I'm kind of discovering myself, not so sheltered from the world. Now I'm getting to see the world and experience it for myself.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I always thought outside of my immediate environment. We didn't have social media back then.
Right.
So we had to live vicariously through magazine and through TV and radio.
Right.
And so I was just fortunate enough that, a lot of people get stuck in a bubble where they are, especially from smaller cities.
True.
And so that's what prompted me to say, well, how can I know where I want to get to. How do I do that? So at the time, as you said, CDs and tapes.
Yep.
The record labels used to have addresses on there. And so I came up with an idea to do demo tapes and mail cassettes to these places.
Okay.
Now, nobody taught me about a press kit. Nobody taught me about, what is that, right? But at 16, 17 years old, something told me, okay, they probably need to know who we are, something about us. So I used to handwrite bios, and I always excelled in writing and literature. So I indented everying, right? Just proper grammar.
So you were able to make an impression with that.
Yeah, I was in cursive, on notebook paper. This wasn't even typed, right? Yeah. And so I'm like, yes, my name is Court Dog, and I'm a rapper from Kansas City. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah. And I had to do so I did this.
And then you snail mail it.
Yes.
You got to wait for it to get
put
there.
it in a package, and snail mail it. Exactly. But I started getting those packages back. Return, we do not accept unsolicited material because I'm sending them to major record labels. I don't know this verbiage. I don't know what that is.
Sure.
So again, I'm like, well, what do I do? So, in the 90s, you had the independent record label explosion. So I just thought, well, they seem a little smaller, a little more accessible. So I start sending tapes to those addresses. And Master P happened to have a phone number on the back of his tape.
Oh my gosh, that would seemingly never happen today.
Right. I said, I got action.
Yeah.
So I called the phone number, but it's a voicemail. No problem, because I had a plan for that. So what I did was I called. I used to fill up the voicemail on purpose, so no one else could leave.
Oh, that's funny.
So no one else could leave messages. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it worked. He got tired of hearing my voice on the voicemail, and he was like, man, this dude got to be serious.
Now, was he in LA or New York?
No, he was in the Bay Area at that time.
Bay Area, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. Servo, who's one of his artists, who's my No Limit brother, he went and got the tape, listened to it, told P, hey, man, I think these guys from Kansas City got something. So P called my house. I didn't believe it was him at first.
Of course.
And it went from there. He flew us out to the Bay Area. We did Down South Hustlers, which was technically the first double rap album. This was prior to Tupac's All Eyes on Me, because this was 1995, and it went gold. And so that's how we got the gold plaque, and then it was up from there. How
did you know how to create music for the tape?
So that was my partner Cisco. Okay. So my partner Tyrone Cisco, he was the creative force.
Okay.
I was the business mind. I was the person to get out and talk to people, and we knew our lanes as kids.
Yeah.
He knew. He said, "Listen, you don't want me to talk to them people because I'm gonna mess it up."
Yeah.
So I'm in the studio.
Well,
I'll make the beats. I'll mix it. I'll conceptualize and do all of that. So he was the brainchild of all the music at the early stages.
Do you think you just had like an innate understanding of how to do this, or did you learn this through family or neighbors or anybody around you?
It was innate. It was intrinsic. Yeah. And I think that's why I have less patience with people nowadays that say they want to do things, because we're in such a informationally rich society now. And I knew I'm in Kansas City. I have no reference point of how to do this. I don't know anyone in music. Right. I don't have any. It's just imagination. Yeah. And a belief that I could do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So then, what happened from there? Did you end up staying in Kansas City for a while, or like at what point did you then move out to LA?
So at that point, we recorded a full album with No Limit called 100% Game. Okay. Right. So I have a interesting history with No Limit.
Okay.
So I was there before the explosion. The explosion happened about 97, 98, 99.
And the explosion, just for context,
meaning when
included who?
When when No Limit blew up.
Oh, okay. No Limit in particular.
So I got with No Limit right when it was still bubbling a little bit, but they hadn't quite reached there.
Got it. Yeah.
So with that being said, we did an album called 100% Game. It's on the inside of Down South Hustlers. We recorded it and everything. Now, we had a manager at the time. Okay. No shade to him. We're 17, 18 years old. He's probably late 20s.
Okay.
He really doesn't know what he's doing,
Yeah.
but he knows more than us.
Right.
So the irony of this is him and my partner, they were a little more tight. They kind of connected, and me and P connected. Well, my partner and P really didn't connect.
I see.
They didn't really like each other. And then me and the manager, we were cordial, but
Yeah.
I didn't really connect with him like he did.
You maybe could start to see the writing on the wall.
Oh,
that
yeah.
this is gonna go.
It started going left. So now the manager is, he's coming at P a certain type of way. And so it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't work out. But I kept the relationship, obviously. So I come back to Kansas City and I start an independent label.
Okay.
And I start putting out independent records. So I did that in the late 90s. This is why Kansas City would know me as Court Dog. So they remember the Kansas City Chief, pulling rank, CCG, only game in town, all of that.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, I'm 18, 19 years old, and I'm able to front thousands of dollars for, manufacturing, studio time, I'm learning distribution, dealing with one stops, one sheets, all of this different thing before I'm 20 years old.
How many other people in KC were doing something similar that you could like tap into, or what did it look like then? Or did you feel like, I'm on an island here, I have a special kind of like gift or skill or interest, and I'm going to just kind of figure this out?
No, I definitely wasn't the only one.
Okay.
It was a handful of us back then, not like it is now, but it was only a handful of us. I mean, there were people, of course, like Rich the Factor. He went to the Bay and got with JT the Bigger Figure. Of course, you had the Popper, Money G, Vel Bacardi was the first rapper from Kansas City to actually sign a major record deal. And this was like 93-ish. Then Tech was still around. Tech 9 was still doing his thing. So there were a handful of us.
When did he start? Because not growing up here, I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know about him until I moved here, which is my own problem. But I learned about him and obviously know a lot about him now. But like, what year did he start and how long has he been doing it?
Tech started in the 80s. And he started doing the breakdancing era. And he was a part of a group called Nut House, where he was more of a dancer. And then he started rapping probably late 80s. Okay. And Tech was always super talented, uber talented. Tech, he paid his dues. The early 90s, he really, he had a lot of false starts. He had deals that fell through where it looked like it was about to happen and it just didn't. Yeah. He finally got his motion with Travis O'Gwen. Shout out to Travis and Strange. Tech has done what he's done is phenomenal. Him and Travis. I love what they've built right here in the city. Right. They've been the only people to be able to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of that, so Tech, are you guys buddies? He was on your podcast.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so let's talk about your podcast.
Yes.
How did you get that started? That's been what, 3-4 years?
No. So I started Holdin Court Podcast. I started that podcast. We're 6 years old.
6 years, okay.
6 years. We started during COVID.
Okay.
Got it. During the quarantine. And so the funny thing is, and I want to give this little story.
Yes.
People ask me where that journey started. And I always say it started many years before I understood. My senior year in Northeast, I'm barely graduating, right? Not because I wasn't smart, but because I had just been BSing, all my high school years.
Like many do.
Yeah, right. And so now the 12th grade year, I want to buckle down and get it together,
right. Yeah.
So I'm in senior English, and my teacher, Mr. Connor at Northeast, we had to write a paper and we had to get up and read the paper. And so now it's the mid 90s. So I'm dressed in my, traditional gang garb, starter coat, high top fade, Cortez is, so that's what it was then. Right. So I think I'm that, but whatever. And so I get up, I read my paper. Mr. Connor looks at me and he says, "Richardson," he said, "you speak very eloquently." He said, "You should consider public speaking." I got him.
Had he never heard you speak before, or did you just kind of put on a different presence maybe that day because you had it in your head?
I always excelled at writing and speech.
Okay.
But again, my head space is, I'm trying to be tough. I'm trying to dumb it down, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what the culture was, right? So when he said it, I was like, I kind of got embarrassed.
Really?
I'm like, what? Like, I'm not smart like that. Like, what right?
Like, what do we do as humans where someone's complimenting you and you try to like flip the script
dumb.
And be like,
just dumb,
no,
right? just dumb. So anyway, I remember him saying that, and he would always say that to me. He was like, yeah, you speak very well. He said, I want you to, and he would try to push me to think, but my head wasn't there.
Sure.
So fast forward. Master P and myself, we do a show called Doing the Most on the Playboy. It was Playboy Radio. And this was probably 10 years ago, maybe 2016, 17.
Okay.
And the show was similar to like a Howard Stern kind of shock jock thing. We had a lot of fun, but he said, Court, come on with me. And I'm like, what are we going to do? He was like, oh, we just going to talk, whatever. So anyway, I do that. And one of the executives, her name was Tao, she pulled me to the side and was like, hey, you're kind of good at this. And she was like, would you like your own show? I was like, I guess, And
you'd never thought about it?
I never thought about it.
Did you ever listen to podcasts?
No.
Were you okay? All right.
No, not at all. And so she took me over to Dash Radio, which was in Hollywood on Cahuenga at that time.
Okay.
I think it was DJ Ski. He had a big old facility. Actually, at that time, Dame Dash had a show over there. Snoop had a show over there. Crazy Bone had a show over there. So I did that for about 3 months. I didn't understand the business part of it and how to monetize it.
Sure.
So I kind of was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward several years later, I'm, the world is shut down. I've watched everything on TV. So now I'm on YouTube. So now I'm watching Vlad TV. I'm watching Gangster Chronicles, Drink Champs. Now I'm getting discovering and getting tapped into this podcast culture. So I'm like, it's like I might have something to offer in this space. Then I start thinking about those past experiences.
Yep.
And so,
and to date, just to be clear, you were making a living by your craft of producing music?
No.
Okay.
So I own a portfolio of income properties.
Okay.
Yeah. So I own 42 properties here in Kansas City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I own properties.
You're like a
all
Renaissance
over.
man.
Yeah.
You just dabble in all these different businesses.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. And
cool.
so I was, I've done okay.
Yeah.
So this is all creative. This is not, I did that not chasing the money or anything like that. So I called my friend Ken, my brother. Ken and I would have these conversations. Like, you ever have a friend where you call, it could be something simple but you end up on the phone for an hour talking about stuff. So we would always find ourselves talking about 90s rap music, stuff we grew up on. Man, remember this album? So anyway, I call him and say, hey, man, we should do a podcast where we just talk about the stuff that we grew up on.
Yeah. The things we love. We love
right.
it. Yeah.
So Ken, he owns a humongous sound stage in Burbank.
Okay.
And so everything was slow. He was like, hey, man, we ain't doing nothing over here. We got a whole facility that we can set it up and let's just do it.
How incredible.
That's how it started.
Immediate access, right?
Immediate access.
Yeah.
And, and so, as you said, access. So as I'm watching, I'm seeing the guest model. So I said, well, I know a lot of celebrities. I've cultivated a lot of relationships since I've been in LA. People like me and they show up for me. So I just went through my phone and just said, hey, I'm doing this. You want to come? Now, I had never put an episode out.
Okay.
So I'm really blessed the fact that these people showed up without any proof of concept, just based on my word and our relationship.
Well, and I know you've got 3 kids that are grown.
Yes.
My kids are young, but I swear to you, I tell them, I do not care if you learn cursive.
Yes.
I do not care if you learn math without a calculator, but learn the power of relationships and networking and the people that you know and how you can help each other move forward. I mean, there's nothing more powerful, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
That's the cornerstone.
And people need to really understand that is like the cornerstone. Yeah,
that
you said
is
it
the
best.
cornerstone. You have to relationships. And I think it's just being someone of integrity.
Integrity.
Being a person of your word and keeping your face clean, keeping your reputation intact. So, and that doesn't mean perfection, right? But it just means at least try to be decent.
Yeah.
And so I went through my Rolodex, and of course I called on my close friends, Masterpiece, Silk the Shocker, X-Rated, Jay Prince from Rap A Lot. Like, it just so happens that a lot of my friends are moguls and big people.
Yeah.
And they all showed up, you know. And so that got me traction very fast.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the celebrity. Right. It was the skill set that I didn't realize I had, you know, and people would point that out. And of course I refined it as you know, the more I did it. But
and when you say skill set, what does that mean to you, like in this medium? You didn't know that you had it.
Well, I think in terms of being able to create a compelling conversation and move the conversation along organically. Yeah. Ask the questions and still be tasteful, right? Sure. And you can still confront controversial topics, but it's all in how you couch it. I've kind of branded my podcast, because I do have a lot of celebrities, as a safe place. Yeah. Meaning that, you know, I'm not going to sneak you. I'm not here to do all the salacious, messy stuff. That's not even who I am in real life.
Clickbait.
No, because I understand life is real. And at some point you have to log off and you have to get off all of this and go live a real life. Yeah. And two mountains won't meet, but two men will. So you get on here and say something crazy, and then real life will creep up on you, you know. Yeah. So, and then I also, and then there are influences. As I backtracked it, you know, I grew up watching 60 Minutes.
Connecting the dots.
Looking back, yes. And I'm like, okay, I was always fascinated by Barbara Walters and 60 Minutes and Arsenio, but I watched it differently than everybody else did. Yeah. So I think it was those influences.
Fascinating. Yeah. I'm just picturing you as like a 14-year-old kid watching Barbara Walters.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Even before that.
I mean, she's one of the greatest, right?
Yeah,
that
Barbara Walters. And
world.
what was the cat with the shoulders? King, Larry King.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he would sit up.
Yeah.
I watch him.
They led the way.
Donahue, I would watch all of that. And I didn't realize what I was kind of taking in and learning at that time.
That's really interesting, because I think about, I mean, everything that you're saying clearly resonates with me because I'm a podcast host as well. Yeah. And I remember, I mean, it's so funny to think back, like I was fairly introverted as a kid. And now to think like I'm hosting a podcast where I'm leading the conversation. But I learned over the last probably, 8 to 10 years that my strength or my superpower was bringing people in and making them feel comfortable and bringing great stories out of them, and so I hear everything that you're saying, and obviously not everyone has that same skill set, but to have people that can do it but also really want to do it, like I have the best time doing this and meeting new people and hearing the stories. Like it's so cool that we can bring people together, the Elena Pages of the world, and pull these things out where people can they're going to listen to you, of course, and find something that they're going to run with because they learned it from you. And I'm thinking back too, I'm like, well, maybe it's because I watched Oprah Winfrey and Donahue and all the people, the Jenny Jones show or whatever it was.
Man, we take these things in our spirits and in our minds and our psyche, and so I think that landed to me being able to grow in this space. And then again, I always kind of had a knack for speaking. And you know what really gave me the confidence one time, when X-Rated, who is an artist at Strange, he's a friend of mine, a close friend of mine. He had just got out of prison. He had did like 26 years. And so he flew out to LA to come sit down with me. And he had one of his business associates who he was an older gentleman with an English accent, white guy. He sat there the whole 2.5 hours and watched us live off camera. And as soon as we got done, he came over to me and he said, "Wow." He said, "Man," and he's the first one to tell me, he said, "You're really good at this." He said, "I was engaged the whole time." And so he was explaining to me these things, but the X-Rated might have been like my third interview.
Right.
So I'm taking it in, like, okay, it's clicking,
You're taking it in and he's taken with
you. Yeah. And the fact that he is, quote unquote, outside of the culture of conversation we're having, but he was still super engaged, and so that gave me a level of confidence. I was like, okay. And so then quickly, I went viral so many times, just off of great conversation, and people have taken note in the industry. You know, at this point, celebrities and their teams reach out to me, you know, and put me, hey, we're trying to come. Can we book? You know, but I think it's them realizing that, oh, wow, this guy's really doing the work. Like you know, I'm prepared. You know,
people do not know how much goes into a podcast.
No, they don't.
I just had this conversation yesterday with someone who was like, man, I was going to start a podcast. I did not realize what it entailed, so I didn't start it. And I'm like, it's a lot. Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to build a viable brand. Yeah. And you just said it.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people you have to love what you do. You know, you can't chase money. You have to, you know, you have to be a purpose chaser, not a paper chaser, because the more you try to chase that, you know, it's going to get away from you.
What's so tough about the, like, you have to love what you do is, if I'm being honest, like, I just turned 47. Okay. I worked in the corporate world for 25 plus years, whatever it was. Did I love all of those years? No. But then you have to find that balance of, like, you have to find a means to an end, of course, to support your lifestyle, to support all your, you know, everything that you have going on. But the minute you can find that thing that you love, run with it. It will work itself out.
Definitely.
I have a friend who is potentially going through a layoff here through an acquisition, and we just talked yesterday, and, you know, there's a lot of fear. And I'm like, trust me, from leaving the corporate world a year ago, you will figure it out.
Yes.
You will find a way. It will work itself out. Don't worry about it. If you love it, if you're driven, if you're, you know, smart about it, if you work with the people around you that can help you. So I think that's always the tough thing for me, to be like, but not everybody can do what they love because they can't get their way in, but you can get there.
Yeah.
Just be patient.
You have to lean into being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, that's where growth happens. Most people, they let life live them.
Yeah.
You know, and the circumstances, they just go with it. I was never like that. I was always an outlier. You know, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, and I don't want to sit here like I've just been super poised and everything has been perfect.
Sure.
There have been times where I just don't know how to give up, right? But I'm like, what do I go back to? Because I've swam so far out. Yeah. When I look back, I don't have anything to go back to, so I don't have a choice. But
and even if you did, you might not have any interest in going back to what it was.
Oh,
you know, so of course you're going to do whatever it takes for a lot of people in that position.
You know, my wife and I, we've had this conversation, and I said, you know what? I could have played it safe. You know, she works in the medical field. You know, she could have did her practice here in Kansas City. We're both from Kansas City. I could have, you know, went to college or got a decent job somewhere, been a professional. You know, we could have got our house in Raytown or wherever, you know, and just settled into it. But it would have been comfortable, but my heart and mind would have been somewhere else about the possibilities of what I've come to do and what I've been doing. You know, and, you know, I think some of this is being, you know, I always say you live life long enough, it'll teach you how to live. Right.
I like that.
And so, meaning that, you know, you have to learn how to be appreciative of where you are in the journey, because a lot of times we're so preoccupied with trying to get there to the next thing. Like, where's there?
Yeah.
You know, where's there?
We're looking into the future too much versus like present day. Exactly. Capitalize on what you can today.
And I'm saying that to say that, you know, I said to myself one day, like, where's there? Because from the space of me being a kid in Kansas City, everything that I dreamed of from that space has come to fruition. You know, but of course there's levels, right? So, but I'm like, where's there? Because the thing is if I never make it to wherever there is, man, listen, I've had a hell of a journey. I have, you know, I've had the respect of some of the most amazing, influential people. I've lived in beautiful homes. I've driven every car and owned every car I want. I've traveled. I've had all the accoutrements of the success of there.
I love that.
If I don't even make it there, you know, so.
I love that because I have this motto of every day is on my bucket list, and I want to learn something new, do something new. And really what that is like, live in the present moment. Stop looking in the past. Don't look ahead too far. I mean, there, of course, you have to plan and things like that. But I think, like, you know, we all know the world is moving at this like breakneck pace of like technology and all the different things. And did I know when I was 14 years old that I wanted to grow up and be a podcast host? No, that wasn't even a thing. No. It was not even a title, a position. And so I think like we can get too caught up in the world of I want to get there when you might have zero actual idea of what there is, because the world is changing so much that like no one was talking about AI the way that we are, of course, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So like just be doing as much as you can here.
Yes.
Without knowing what's going to be around the corner.
No, that's a fact. And I wake up every day.
And who you're going to meet along the way.
Who you're going to meet along the way, because it's really about how you make people feel. You know, people remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's, like I say, you live a life long enough, it teach you how to live. Yeah. And so I've gotten to a space in life, man, I tell you, I wake up every day and I'm so fortunate. You know, of course, no one is, you know, exempt from issues of life, right? And I consider myself very good at preventing, you know, self-inflicted problems.
Sure.
But life is always going to life, no matter what the economic backdrop is. No, it don't matter. Life don't care about none of that.
Right.
So, but with that being said, I wake up every day very, very grateful that I'm able to do what I love. It's just as simple as that. You know.
And I believe that to have that kind of gratitude and that kind of outlook on life and to do a lot of great things for other people is going to, of course, come back and serve you well.
Exactly.
And I think it's easy to overlook that for people. And it sounds so basic, but it's also hard in practice too, for everybody to completely wake up and be like, I'm so grateful, you know, that I have my partner.
I think when you've been through a lot, because I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I've lost a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I lost my mom, you know, relatively young. You know, I've lost friends, family, you know, things like that. And I think as I've gotten older, I've discovered I'm probably an empath. I feel everything. I take everything in. And with that being said, which at the same time has made me develop my my armor. Yeah. You know, but mentally and emotionally, it's funny. I kind of live like a monk. Yeah. You know, meaning that I just kind of flow. You know, I don't. You know,
feels very peaceful as you're talking about it.
I protect my peace. Yeah. You know, I don't expect too much from whatever. I allow things to flow. You know, okay, that's who you want to be. Let me respect who you want to be. Yeah. Because I want people to respect who I want to be. It may not align with me. That's okay. And I understand it's not about me. It's you. And now I can't control you, but I can control me and what I'm exposed myself to. So
maybe we like read the same books or something, because I learned actually after moving to Kansas City, there was a moment in time where I learned to stop having expectations.
Yes.
In many different areas of life. Yes. I realized my expectations were setting me up for failure, disappointment. And once I made that switch in my mind, it changed so much for me. And I think that it took me many adult years to get to that point, but I got there, and it changed everything.
Live long enough, it teach you how to live.
Exactly.
And so again, exactly, because I'm gonna tell you what that's about. What that comes back to is acceptance. Yeah. A lot of times our lack of acceptance of things, you know, robs us of our peace. We want to know why. We want an explanation, or we want to hold people to a standard. You know, like I've been in LA 23 years. And the reason I've never been involved in any mess. I know the difference between my industry friends, my real friends, and my street friends. Yeah. I know the difference. Yeah. So because I know the difference, I'm going to have a different expectation for each. Right? I'd be crazy to have the expectation of an industry friend that I would for a best friend. Sure. You know, and then also you meet people where they are. Yeah. A lot of this stuff is common sense. You know, I think humans, we complicate
struggle.
things.
Yeah, we complicate it. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, you know, it's like, okay, you meet people where they are, you know, and then it's really not fair to you or the other person to impose your expectations on them. Right, right. You know, they may not have it to give, you know, and sure, we want everybody to go. We want to hold people's feet to the fire, especially if we love them. Yeah. But that acceptance of, you know what, rather you my child, my brother, my sister, that's just who you are.
That's true.
So I got to operate from that space. Yeah. And I can pray that you get better, but if you don't, I just operate where we are.
Yeah. And then we go on from there.
We go on from there.
Well, speaking of expectations, before we move on to the OG network, because there's so much to talk about with that, but Holdin Court, I don't even know if we said the name, obviously, of the podcast.
Holdin Court Podcast, yes.
Hence a play off of your name. Yes. But what are your expectations now that you've done this for 6 years? Where do you want to take it? What do you want to do with it from here?
Well, now that I'm immersed in the media space at this point, and I love it. I want to take Holdin Court specifically and scale it into a live show with the audience.
Amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Would it be in LA or would it travel?
It'd be in LA.
Okay.
It'd be in LA. I've had opportunities to do the live thing. Yeah. I had my first opportunity was in Chicago. Yeah, I'm open to that, but when I say like how we were saying with Oprah and Donahue or whatnot, I really want to scale it to that.
Okay.
So that's in terms of Holdin Court, but I'm in this media space with OG Network, and I hate to say it, to some degree, I mean, Holdin Court is my baby, and I'm always going to do it.
Yeah.
But OG Network is kind of taking precedence.
I know. Let's talk all about that, because I was doing a deep dive on this, and okay. So tell us what OG Network is.
Yes.
And then.
So OG Network is we're what you call an OTT platform, over the top platform, streaming app similar to Tubi, Netflix, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It's founded by myself and Ice-T. We have over 1,000. We have over 1,000 titles. So we have horror. We have all genres. You name it, we have
old
it.
Classics, I think.
We have classics, yes. Yep. So we specialize in, our foundation is in the classic movies, the blaxploitation movies, the old school movies.
Yeah.
And Ice-T.
And it's all black related, right? Is that correct?
No. So.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
So the blaxploitation part of it is, because we have a lot of titles that a lot of platforms don't have.
Yeah, which I want to hear more about why.
Yeah,
why it's behind that.
And so, but no, I always try to communicate that even though we're black, we're not a black network. We're inclusive.
Okay.
It's for creators from all over. Now, of course, yes, we want to look out for people in the culture, the urban culture, and that doesn't even necessarily just black, right? Okay. And the reason being is because, me working with Master P for many years, he always said, in order to create a good business, find a solution to a problem. So being in this creative space, I was like, okay, I kind of see a problem. I see the UPN, I see the CW, I see even Tubi, what they're doing once they got acquired by Fox. They use a lot of, I'm gonna say, urban black content. They use, they use it, they get the valuation, and then they move the goalpost. It's kind of like they discard of them. And so I'm never mad at what someone does with their business and how they scale. But I understand they don't bear the burden of culture, right? Or creators. It's just business to them.
Yeah.
That's fine, right? And so we need someone in the culture where, we're of the culture, but we own the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So now we can advocate for those creators.
Amazing.
So we'll scale too.
Yeah.
We're going to scale. But the only thing is the barrier to entry. We're not going to do you like that. We're going to come. You're going to come with us.
Yeah.
So, and we already have some like major big budget titles, and then we have a independent movie next to it.
Yeah.
So that's really what the motivation was. But again, it's for creators all over the world, because it's not just black creators.
That's perfect. One of the things that I think I looked up on here, it was. OG Network launched in 186 countries.
Yes.
And hit 2.3 million viewing minutes almost immediately.
Yes.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What year was this?
No, we're 6 months old.
6 months, that's right. So we're not even at the year point.
Yes.
Okay. How? I mean, did you guys expect that? Did you have some idea that you could make it happen like that?
Definitely.
That's incredible.
So let me say, we're available on Roku, Google Play, Fire TV, Apple TV, and the App Store. Okay. So, I mean, we for one, listen, Ice-T, he's an icon. Yeah. He has a huge audience, right? Yeah, and then I have an ecosystem as well. Right. So what we did was I targeted our existing ecosystems. Yep. And then, not to even mention that we did a press run. We did the Sherry Shepherd Show. We did the Breakfast Club. We did our fair share of media. And it just shows that the culture they were ready for something like that. Yeah. And a lot of people are looking at us as a good Tubi alternative. Okay. In terms of putting their content and watching their content. Yeah. What was there
so going back to maybe like the comparison with Tubi, was there a moment where you went, light bulb, whoa, we need to fill this void, we need to solve this problem? And what exactly was that moment?
It was when I start seeing a lot of content creators being kind of disparaged and discarded because they're in all fairness, Tubi, I mean, they have almost 300,000 titles. So their ingestion process is, 6 months out. So you're in queue for 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Okay.
And then what happened was they stopped taking the really rough movies, which is what really built them up.
Okay.
And so now the barrier to entry, they were like, okay, we're with Fox now. We're not really doing that anymore. And so that cut out a lot of people. So now they want you to shoot in 6K. They want you to, have 6-figure budgets when, you guys built it on people shooting on iPhones and $10,000 movies. And myself, I didn't watch those movies, but there is a huge audience that actually like that type of stuff.
Well, isn't the latest example of that movie Obsession? Did you hear about this movie? It's like a YouTube creator who created this movie Obsession, and
somebody was telling me about that. Somebody was telling me about. I haven't seen it, but somebody
I haven't either,
was
and I
telling me
can't
about
speak to it directly. But somebody said they went to go see it, and I didn't know what was going on. And then I went, and then I started hearing about it, and it was like, oh my gosh, do not underestimate this little creator over here.
And that there who
knows what the people want.
You hit the nail on the head. And so things are changed. So just like in the music industry, right? The record labels have more or less become obsolete, right? You can be a creator and go right to your public, go right to your fan base. And so kind of a page that I took out of Tyler Perry, that's what he said. He said, hey, listen, I don't create movies to compete with Hollywood standards or whatever. I have an audience. I know what they like. I know who they are, and I super serve that niche.
Yeah.
So you find...
I think that's worked pretty well for him.
Exactly. So you find your people.
Yeah.
And so when I learned that, I'm like, okay, there's an audience of people who like these type of movies, Yeah. And so there was really not many other places that they could get that from. And so I also thought that, again, presenting the opportunity, because now it ties into what we said about life.
Yeah.
It's like at the end of your life, what have you contributed to the human experience? Who have you helped?
Yeah.
So I want to be able to give people opportunities like I was given opportunities. So that was really the defining factor right there.
Yeah. And then how did you decide to go to Ice-T versus anybody else?
Right.
Like, what did that pitch go or conversation go
That's
like?
a great question. So, of course, my relationship with P, people automatically thought, why didn't you do it with P?
Right.
Well, I knew P was in a different space. Okay. He was focused on, his basketball coaching and his philanthropy. Okay. So he wasn't really in the entertainment space. I prayed on it. And I just thought about because I know a lot of influential people, but it's like God just tapped me on the shoulder and said, holler at Ice. Yeah. So I hit Ice up, and, Ice was like, hey, Court, I'd love to do it. I'd love to be in business with you, Yeah. And he was like, I don't. No. Yeah, no. He was like, I don't have the bandwidth to really, because I'm doing SVU and all these things. Yeah. He said, but you're going to have to run point on it. Okay. But I'd love to do it with you. Just let me know whatever we need to do. Amazing. And so we came in 50-50 partners, and Ice coined the term OG.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more about that. I heard him on like Sherry Shepherd or something talking a little bit about that, but I wanted to hear you kind of explain it.
His second, maybe his third album came out in 1991, which was called OG, Original Gangster. Okay. And so he coined that term, OG. So, we figure, okay, OG, classic material. And so we built it off of having these old movies that people couldn't get everywhere. Yeah.
So when you had this idea, was it not a daunting thought to be like, this is something that will compete with a Netflix?
Yes.
Or, I mean, what was going through your mind? Or you're just like, you know what? I feel it so deep in my soul that this is the thing to do.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen, I was, and then, for the most part, we're tech founders. Yeah. We're not tech people. Yeah. I use the basic functions of my phone. I'm not a techie person, but I've had a crash course in tech. I understand the creative part of it, the marketing part of it. So, yes, it was very daunting, and I knew, but I that's just how I'm wired, though. I knew that it was something that I could do because I was passionate about it. And
back to the passion.
The other part was that seed had been planted. Again, I have to tell you, several years ago. Again, my brother Master P. Yeah. He was doing a linear network called BBTV, Better Black TV.
Okay.
It was years ago when Comcast, they were mandated to give a few Black-owned, minority-owned networks. Magic Johnson got Aspire.
Okay.
Robert Rodriguez got El Rey, and so forth. So P was trying to do Better Black TV. Again, I'm the homeboy.
Yep.
I'm the homie. So he tells me, come on, this is what we doing.
Okay.
So he makes me like VP. I know nothing.
You're like, sounds great.
You know, right.
Let
But I'm with you, right?
Yeah.
And so it didn't happen, right? It didn't come to fruition, but that planted the seed.
Yeah.
And so I always said, I want to do that. And so I started studying and watching Byron Allen, watching Tyler Perry, you know, watching, you know, even what 50 Cent was doing with Shreveport. And that's why I was like, okay, I want my own facility. We're disruptive, basically, to the Hollywood system, because I know what it's like to pitch projects, that whole thing, then audition and getting told no, and you audition and I get it, but you get, you know, you got to audition 2,000 times to land one role, right? And then, you know, so I was like, no, we're not doing that anymore, you know, so we're the platform. We're the creators. We own the IP. We can help people along the way. Like Byron Allen said, he said, the reason I run circles around these major studios is because they'll take a whole year meeting to make one decision about to green light. He said, since then, I have 20 first run shows.
So much red tape, right?
Yeah. And I've been in those situations. So I was like, we don't have to do that. So this is why I said, no, we're going to boss up. We're going to own the platform. We're going to create the content. We're going to own the IP. We're going to have our own funding. We're going to do all that. You know, we're going to be as autonomous. And I'm not opposed to working with the machine, but we make the decisions.
Yeah. Okay. So how does it work? Do people come to the OG network and pitch being a part of the network, or like who's kind of your target audience of people to be a part of your,
yes,
I guess the content or the creator community?
Yeah.
That kind of
the
thing.
Independent filmmakers.
Okay.
And yes, they usually pitch to content at the ognetwork.net, and we deal with distributors as well and aggregators. Yeah. But yes, content, we get hundreds of submissions a week, you know. Okay. And so I had to hire a staff. Yeah. It came fast, you know. Yeah. I had to hire staff literally to go through and field the content and, you know, then get it to me. And I pretty much had to train them on what we accept and what we don't.
Okay. And so what does that look like? Like how much are you taking on? How much will you accept? What kind, what's the criteria, I guess, maybe to know?
The criteria is pretty much, we accept shorts. I've made a place for shorts, for verticals. As long as it's not too rough, like, right? Okay. You have your idea, as long as we don't see the mic.
Like quality of it.
Yeah, the quality of it. We don't see the boom mic in the shot. The sound is not completely horrible. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Like it would be if I did my podcast at home on my couch, which is why I'm not doing it here.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, content is king. Like even with the podcast stuff, let me tell you, what I learned is I shoot in you know, multi-million-dollar play, as you do, right? Really nice set and all of that. Yeah. I know platforms that have no aesthetic that do very well. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's the content.
It's the content. Absolutely. Content. Yeah.
You know, so I look at the same thing when you know, look at someone else's creativity, right? I may look at it and be like, yeah, this is garbage. I wouldn't watch it. But I do know that there's thousands of people that would like this.
Right. I mean, that's what I've learned too. There's an audience for everything.
There's an audience for everything. Like, find your people.
Yes, exactly. You know, and then of course thinking outside the box of like, well, maybe it wouldn't be for me. Like I'm definitely bringing some people on that I'm dabbling in, like the world of the crime junkie podcasts that people love. Yes. I don't particularly listen to them, but I do watch the documentaries. But like I'm bringing someone on to talk about like the Leavenworth prison. I'm just like, there's an audience for everything. There's an Dabble in it and figure out what people want to hear.
Find your people.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that I read authentic storytelling. Is that kind of like a key component of what you have thought about that you want kind of behind the mission of the OG Network? Can you talk a little bit about that to kind of tie into the content and to tie into sort of that like content is king and what you guys are looking to?
Well, authentic meaning that is direct from the culture, right? Yeah. Some of the stories, you know, how can I say? Okay, for instance, I was born and raised in Kansas City in that environment, right? So I can see certain things in movies or certain stories being told that I can tell when it's been written or it's been produced by someone who really doesn't know It's like, no, that wouldn't go like that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like when they do mafia movies, how sometimes they'll bring on real mafia people to make sure it's authentic.
Yeah.
So when you say authentic storytelling, from these different urban stories, whether it's a love story, whether it's a hood story, whether it's a horror, whatever, it's directly from the creator. Because what happens is when you get into the Hollywood machine, you can have a great idea, but at the end of the day, the people that put the money up, they're going to have the final say, right? So your vision is your vision, but then they bring in production companies, they bring in money people, they have the, they can sign, they have the right for the final edit. And now it's not so much your vision.
Right.
Is it authentic? Now,
Yeah.
because now they're bringing in what we know that works. Let's make it like this because this made so much money. That's business.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah. Obviously, you know far more than I do about that, but I'm like, it's someone's opinion at the end of the day.
Right. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because I always say that I'm probably like 70% suit and 30% creative. Yeah. So I totally get it, but both things can happen. You can still keep it authentic. Just find the people that like that authenticity.
Yeah.
So now everybody can be their own people, their own bosses. The creators, they own their IP. We license it. We don't own it.
Okay.
We can help you get to the world. We can help you promote it, market it. You own it. And if you get traction, do a part 2. Yeah. I may think it's garbage, but obviously there's a sea of people that like it. Because art is subjective.
You can't please everybody.
Art is subjective.
So it's all film to some degree, whether it is like a documentary or fiction or horror or love, all of that kind of covers every category. Okay, good. I think another thing that I wanted to ask you when I was researching, do you have 3 pillars? Is that something that you guys built as part of your mission? Like, I was reading about the authentic storytelling and then cultural accountability. Yes. Is that something that is worth talking about of what you guys are doing? Yeah, and that plays into what I was saying with Holdin Court as well. Cultural accountability mean the representation, you know. Sure, we have the hood stories and, the proverbial hood stuff, right? But at the same time, the Black culture and Black people are not, a monolith. There are a lot of colors to it. There's a lot of different things. So now there's Black love stories. There's Black comedies. There's Black horrors. There's documentaries. And again, so that's when we're saying that it's authentic and it's the representation. Okay. Not just wanting to be exploitive. Because this works. We understand that, the hood stuff works. But when you bear the burden of culture and you understand that, it's entertainment, but at the same time, sometimes it can be a little destructive too. Because people who don't know the culture, you have outsider people that haven't been around Black people, they're taught how they all they have is media. Like for me, we all have a level of ignorance. I met someone from Albania, right? And I was like, dang, I never met someone. I said, because in the movies, they always gangsters. Like, Albanians and Russians, y'all. So they must be a gangster. See what I'm saying? But that's my reference point to that. And I mean, I know it's not true, but that's what I've seen. Yeah, it's like a little bit ingrained because of how long ago you learned it. Yeah. Exactly. So it's balance. It's being able to have the power. I have the power to limit what is shown on OG Network. I can say, we've been inundated with all this hood stuff. We're only going to accept this much. And then we're going to balance it with these stories. And we're going to, you see? Yeah. So you got to have the power. Speaking of like misperceptions, is that something that is of interest or importance to you guys when it comes to the content that you're showing? Are you trying to educate people on anything about misperceptions culturally or misperceptions, anything in particular? Yeah, does that make sense? We're open to all of that. Okay. Yes, absolutely. And again, there's a space for those things. Yeah. I like some gangster movies. Yeah. Right? I like it, right? But I'm just saying we have to have balance. It's just like, music back in the day. In our day, Gen X,
You know, sure, I loved NWA, I loved Eazy-E, I loved all the gangster stuff, but then we also had Kid and Play. We also had DOS Effects. We had, you know, we had Heavy D, the fun records, you know, like they don't even talk about girls and partying no more, right? So it's just balance, like anything else. That's it, just balance.
Okay, good. So are you guys, you're based out of LA?
Yes.
Are you expanding your team because you guys are kind of growing at a rapid pace, or TBD?
Yeah.
Because you're 6 months in.
No, absolutely. So we're based in LA. Of course, Ice lives on the East Coast because he shoots SVU there. But we just extended, you know, to St. Louis. We just launched OG Network Studios. We have a 14,000 square foot facility in St. Louis, which we partnered with my guy Craig Thomas, who's Lovelace Films, and he's head of production of OG Network, our original content. And so, that's exciting. You know, we were just down there. I'm talking about, we got the whole city block. You know, we have so much space. And what we're doing is similar to, you know, what Tyler Perry has done, what 50 Cent has done, even Cat Williams. He's in Anniston, Alabama. So we're really, you know, empowering ourselves and becoming autonomous. We have our own equipment. We have our own grip trucks. We have our own cameras.
I mean, you have to be like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
We can build our sets, everything.
Yeah. And to like, I think maybe before we started recording, I had asked you like, why not Kansas City? Obviously you're here. And, you know, and so for people who are listening that are a part of the Kansas City Metro, you had an opportunity in St. Louis that you could not pass up.
Right.
So,
which is it's the same way why 50 Cent is from Queens, New York, but his spot is in Shreveport, right? Yeah. So, you know, you go to where the business is. Right. You go to where the money is. And St. Louis, you know, that's they embraced us, and, you know, it landed like that. And that, who's to say? I may have a spot. I do have an opportunity to do that here. I can't replicate that here. But St. Louis is only 3 hours away. So we're still going to do a lot of stories.
We love St. Louis too.
Absolutely.
We're just a little biased over here.
No, that's right. And we're still going to have a lot of content that bridges St. Louis and Kansas City, because our head of production, Craig, he's from St. Louis. Okay. So, and we're still Missouri.
It's still Missouri. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So with the 14,000 square feet, what all is going to be happening in there? Can people come visit you guys and like pitch something, or like what's the deal?
Well, no, they can't. No, it's not open to the public like that. So please don't come.
Please don't knock on the door.
Yeah, you won't get in. At this stage, it's really for us.
Okay.
We have a lot of excuse me. We have a lot of our own original content that we have slated right now. So we're not really taking, you know, we don't really need other people's scripts, treatments or whatnot. Not at this juncture. I'm sure that will happen down the line. So this will be housed where we'll build our sets for our sitcoms. Okay. You know, we have sitcoms we're bringing back. We're actually shooting a horror movie called Hospice. We're going into production at the end of July that we'll be shooting there. We have a Christmas movie that we're shooting there. And we also have a 6-part anthology called Don't Get It Twisted with Ice-T hosting it. So he'll be flying into St. Louis and we're shooting it there as well.
Amazing.
We have a vertical that we're going to shoot there. And by the way, I just shot my first vertical for OG Network in LA. With me and Kennedy. It's called The Assassin Family.
Can you explain what a vertical is for people?
Okay,
who might be like,
a vertical drama series is basically shot in 9:16. The camera is shot vertical for your phone, so it's primarily targeting the phone. Yeah. Okay. And then there's short stories. So they're 3 minutes, 5 minutes or less. We did 10 episodes. It's called The Assassin Family. It stars myself and LaToya Ward, and she's a big influencer. She has like 2 million followers on Facebook. Love it. She plays my wife, and we have a daughter that's 18, and we cosplay as a regular family, but we're contract killers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the daughter.
Sign me up. She's in on it too.
Yes, we taught her. We trained her. So good. Yeah, and we cosplay as the Cosbys, but yeah.
Okay, well, I got to check that out. What is kind of the ETA of this stuff coming out?
So that'll be dropping June. I think it's June 29th.
Oh, right around the corner.
Yes, June 29th on OG Network. So that'll be primarily for our social media. So OG Network Live on IG and OG Network on Facebook.
Those two.
Yeah, those two. So it'll be all on our social medias. And basically what I'm using that as what they call a backdoor pilot. Okay. So, we'll give it to them in the vertical form, and if it gets legs and people like it, then we'll scale it up to an actual hour series and then take it to the network.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will you go back again to take it to the network where people can watch? You mentioned Apple. You mentioned kind of go through that again, and that's mobile.
Yes,
TVs
so
at home,
OG Network you can download on Roku, Google Play, Fire TV, Apple TV, and the App Store.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
and we have a fast channel as well. So
Okay.
fast channel meaning like a linear channel. So you can click on it, and then you have all the channels, and we have programming in place 24/7.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So the way that everybody can support you guys is to engage with what you're creating.
Yes.
And watch on all the different places and share with everybody.
Download. And we have some exciting things, like Ice-T is dropping a new album.
Okay.
Next month in July. I don't know when this will drop, so let me just say he's dropping a new album called Criminal Migraine.
Okay.
So we're gonna stream his listening party for the album live from OG Network.
Okay.
So that'll be exciting. 'Cause
Yeah.
that'll be our first live stream.
Okay.
And he hasn't dropped an album in some years, and he has a loyal fan base.
I know. I was going to say, isn't he like the longest running
on
male
SVU.
actor
Absolutely.
on TV?
On TV.
I just read that. Yeah. I was like, good for
and
him.
it's so funny because what people don't understand about Ice is you have Ice-T, the actor, you have Ice-T, the rapper, but then you have Ice-T with Body Count, the rock group. Body Count just won a Grammy the year before last.
Yeah.
I
feel like a lot of people wouldn't know about that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like the urban culture, they're looking at Ice-T of old, the rapper, and they're like, okay, yeah, we respect Ice, but Ice is very relevant. Ice still tours overseas and does a sea of people, festivals with thousands of people out there knowing every lyric with Body Count. So, this is someone who's iconic in not only music and TV, but rock, rap, and all of that. So he's dropping Criminal Migraine, which will be his first rap record. And it's been some years. It's been maybe several years. So a lot of the Ice-T fans are really, really excited about that.
How does he sleep? I mean, it's one of those people that he falls into that bucket of how does he get it all done?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
You know what? It's the same with P. We're all disciplined, It's not a whole. It's just what you do. It's your job, right? Just like me.
You don't even think about it.
You don't even think about it. People wonder how I get everything done. They're like, okay, you got the network, you got the podcast, you got other businesses, you do a bunch of media. I'm like, well, I'm disciplined and I'm organized.
Yeah, I'm trained to come from this Monday through Friday 9 to 5 world up until I left a year ago.
Yeah.
And our 9-year-old had a friend over the other day on Saturday of last weekend, and they wanted to play, and one of them asked me to do something to play with them or whatever. And my 9-year-old daughter was like, nope, she's working. And I kind of laughed to myself because it was 1 p.m. on Saturday. And I'm like, I am. I mean, it's I don't live in that world anymore.
Right.
To me, it's I will do it. Of course, I prioritize my family and I'm with my kids and everything. But at the same time, I'm like, it doesn't matter what day it is. If you love what you're doing and you need to get it done, you're going to get it done at whatever time.
When you're an entrepreneur, you trade in a 40-hour-a-week job for 24/7.
And it's not for everybody,
it's
obviously.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's a give and take. Okay, people all, including myself, maybe it's just for me, but love the celebrity stories.
Yes.
Can you tell us some fun stories about Master P and Ice-T, your friendship, any fun shenanigans you guys have gotten into, things maybe we wouldn't know about them because we literally see them through a phone or YouTube or SVO?
Man, I've known P for 30 years, and the stories that I would say were funny, I probably shouldn't even repeat.
That's fair. We'll talk offline about that.
Yeah. I don't. I've never lived the rock star lifestyle. We've never done that. None of, my crew, me, P, and our close friends, we don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't party. We're really family people, you know? So we've kind of been able to avoid certain things. We've had our good times. Well, okay, I can tell you this, and what I can say is me and P did get into a fight. We got into a skirmish about 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say 30.
Yeah. No, we did. That was the first time.
Okay.
So we fought the first time in 95, 96.
And you thought it's time to do this again?
Yeah. At our big ages. Yes.
And what happened? Do we get to?
So we
get the details?
we were in Atlanta a few years back, and he was doing something for Revolt TV.
Okay.
And I don't know. We were probably just getting on each other's nerves.
Sure.
I can't remember what it was about, but we're brothers, right?
Yeah.
And so we get in the elevator, and you know he's I don't know. I can't remember what he said. He said something talking crazy, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, I don't know what you think this is because you got muscles or whatever." And so I rushed him in the elevator.
You're just jealous.
So here, right? So here I'm 6'3", P is 6'5".
Okay.
You know, I'm 230. He's probably 260. Right. So we're in there, and there's other people in there, and the elevator is rocking, and we're tussling, and
No way.
Yes.
Did you get kicked out?
No. This is just like three. This is like 3 years ago, and so I end up rolling my ankle on one of our homeboys on his shoe. I rolled my ankle and sprung my ankle.
Oh, jeez.
And so we get off the elevator. I'm kind of limping. And he gets on camera because we're there for something, right? And so he gets on camera, and my ankle starts swelling. It hurts so bad. So he comes over there, and he's like, "Oh, see, that's what you get for playing. Like you know, you think you did, you know." So we kind of, you know, talking back and forth. He ends up making his assistant go get me some ankle stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then we laughed about it.
You're probably like, I'm too old for this.
We're both
My
too
body
old
does
for
not
that.
heal.
We're both
like
too
it
old
used to.
for it. But you know what? That's what we do though. Like back in the day, if you had a problem, you put the gloves on, right?
Yeah.
And so you know, we were being big kids again, but this was just a few years ago.
Yeah,
you know,
that's so
and he
funny.
told this story on my show after
Yeah.
we did the verses.
Yeah.
You know, and he told it. I was shocked that he brought it up.
Yeah.
But he told my daughter, he was like, "Yeah, your daddy tried to jump on me in the elevator." I
Okay,
was like,
so that begs the next question. What is it like working with your daughter on hosting the podcast?
Yeah. So it's dope. You know, my
Yeah.
daughter, you know, because I had her when I was 16. So we grew up together. You know, my daughter grew up going to the studio. She grew up, I raised her on gangster rap.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I hear her music selection, I'll be like, and I just have to remind myself.
Like what? Can you say?
Yeah. She listens to Brother Lynch Hung. She listens to DJ Quick, Sibo, Spice One, all the gutter stuff. But then I had to remind myself, oh my God, I raised her on this. So the same way when I hear Confunction and Cameo, the stuff my mother used to play, this is what it is for her.
Yep.
But this is what happens when
Come
kids
full
have
circle.
kids. This is what happens when kids have kids, right? But no, it's cool working with my daughter. You know, I knew it was something that she could do. She's very well spoken, very charismatic. I think she brings a lot to the table because I wanted her millennial perspective.
That's great. So smart.
Yeah. And then also, you know, at that time, there weren't, at least I wasn't aware of any other platform that were doing, you know, father-daughter type content. And then she also serves as my VP of OG Network. And she's a tech founder herself. You know, she has an all-in-one e-commerce marketplace called Goat Moves that she's launching. And she has her own team and all of that. So
I was reading about that. Good for her. That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's going to do big things.
Yeah. Who do you guys want on the podcast that you haven't had yet?
Oh, that's a great question. I've been fortunate enough to have a few of my bucket list guests, but the ones I haven't had, Mike Tyson,
Okay.
Magic Johnson, Barack Obama.
Which I'm dying to go to his new
The thing
in
that
Chicago.
he had.
Forgot the name of it, the actual name
center,
of it, but
yeah.
it looks incredible.
Those right off the top of my Denzel.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I like Quentin Tarantino. I would love to interview him.
That would be great too.
Yeah.
So what is your plan of attack to get those people on the podcast?
I'll be very honest with you. Again, you live life long enough, it'll teach you how to live. Those things just come.
Yeah.
You know, you do the work.
Don't force it.
Yeah, you do the work, right? I believe that we attract what we think about. You do the work, and then when that opportunity comes, you're prepared. It'll happen in its time. You know, I've had chances to get Mike Tyson. It's just scheduling, right? It just came across my desk and it was scheduling conflicts. Also Ice Cube. So but those would definitely be my top.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What are some of your favorite memories or things about growing up in Kansas City, Missouri?
Wow, man. I think it was a simpler time. And that could be more related to my age, rather, no matter where I was, right? Simpler time. The seasons, I do kind of miss the seasons because in LA, it's nice all the time. It's 80 degrees on Christmas. I had to adjust to that.
The palm trees with the Christmas lights that we don't have here.
Right. It's not the same, especially coming from the Midwest. I miss the seasons. And I will say, the people are a little different. In LA, people don't really speak. The Midwest, there's a kind of a hospitality that's not there. Like my neighbors, I don't know any of my neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it all the time, Midwest nice, right?
Yes.
And it's like now that I'm here full time, it's kind of like you don't see your friends as celebrities and the rest of us do. Now that I'm here, I'm like, this is just the norm, right?
Yeah.
And then you get out of it and realize, oh, nope.
No.
Oh, see, there's the Midwest even word that came out of me. So.
We're not even community, really.
Yeah.
It's like everybody is just kind of minding their business, and you don't really, I've never known my neighbors really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been there 23 years.
That's so wild.
We kind of mind I mean, we nod and we speak, but, I don't really know them. We don't come over and do stuff.
I mean,
like
if
that.
I'm being honest, we live in the suburbs, but like we see people too. And it can be a wave too.
Yes.
And not always.
Right.
Not knowing them as well either. So I guess kind of like life today.
It could be a suburban thing, but I know growing up in Kansas City, growing up in the hood, where it was community. You knew everybody. You knew because it was generations. Like, oh, that's Miss Gant. Oh, that's Miss Williams. This is Miss Cooper.
Yeah.
Her kids grew up with my mom and them, So everybody knew everybody. And if you did something wrong on your way home, like you can get chastised by Miss Gooseby.
Yeah.
Miss Joyce can pull you to the side and then go tell your mama,
Right.
So it's just a different time.
Do you have a lot of people that still live here, or did a lot of your friends growing up move on?
Yes. A lot of my friends died, went to jail. Yes, but I do have a share, a sector of friends that are still here. Some moved away, but coming up in the 80s and the 90s, it was hectic here because we had to navigate and traverse. You had the influx of gangs, you had crack cocaine during that time, so the streets were very hostile. And it was a lot of people lost to the streets and to prison. There are some people just now coming home from the draconian drug laws that they implemented back then. So that was and when I first moved to LA, I used to kind of suffer from survivor's remorse.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Because I remember I was like, wow, like, why me? Because I knew of this friend that got killed, this one that didn't make it, this one that went to prison, this one's on drugs, And I can remember when we were younger, you go back to that place. Nobody raises their hand in third grade and said, hey, I want to be a dope fiend, or I want to go to prison, right? Right. So we all start off very innocent.
How does it, quickly get to that point years later?
And so you remember that person. Yeah. And then you whether they died or just whatever, and then you look at yourself like, dang, I'm here. I'm so blessed. I have, a wife. I have kids. I have, my career. I have things have kind of worked out for me. Not perfect, but things have worked out for me. So I just, you get over it and it's acceptance.
I was going to say, acceptance. I was going to say, how did you come to terms with that?
Acceptance.
Just time and acceptance.
It is what it is. I mean, the Bible says, you'll always have the poor amongst you, and not just financially, but, sometimes people can be poor spiritually, mentally, emotionally. So it just is what it is. And that comes from just meeting people where they are and not imposing your expectations on them, you know. So, and then you don't know people's story, You can know people and grow up with them, but you really don't know what's going on internally. You don't know what was going on in their households or whatever their stuff they had to deal with, you know. And my mother used to tell me, she used to say, baby, everybody's not strong like you. Because it's just certain things I couldn't understand. And I've never been judgmental. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And she would say that as when I was young. She was like, everybody's not strong like you. Yeah. So
you were super close to your mom?
Absolutely. Mama's boy.
Yeah. What influence do you think she had on you the most? Like, what is your favorite thing about your relationship?
Everything. So you got to figure, my mom had me when she was 22. Okay. I grew up an only child. And so I was the oldest grandchild, the first grandchild. So I was doted on. I was treated like a little prince growing up. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I grew up in the hood, but I had a beautiful childhood. I didn't grow up in poverty. You know, I just grew up in the hood, right? And so I had a beautiful childhood. So my mother is a big part of why I think like I think, because she used to tell me all the time, you can do whatever you want to do. So she instilled that confidence in me from a young age. Yeah. You know, and then all the doting that I got. So really, I always thought I was something special anyway. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I just thought, well, I don't know about y'all, but I can do it. But
I do wonder, you know, just in the world that we live in, when not everyone grows up with the loving mom or the loving dad. Like, I'm guessing that made an impact on you with your 3 kids and how you were with them. Know how much that affected you.
Yes. And I give them that. And then also me not growing up with a dad, right? I can be honest. I think I never had dad issues. I think just how I'm wired, you can't miss anything that you never had. So I never had any ill feel. I never felt the void. You know, my mother was that good of a mother. I never felt the void.
Do you think she maybe overcompensated or just had so much love to give? And
I was an only child. It was easy. It was just me and her. You know. So, but in saying that, I think that. I never had that type of, but I do remember the only thing that I, not having the father, it did affect me one time. When I had my son. What happened was I didn't know how to show love to him because it dawned, but see, this is what I'm saying.
Did it kind of hit you?
Yes.
Like you just realized the difference?
I'm in my 20s. So I'm like, what? I mean, do I shake his hand? Do I give him dap? Like, what do I do? And again, that self-awareness, it dawned on me and said, oh, you've never been shown affection or love by a man. So this is why this feels weird to you. Yeah. And so I said, oh, okay. And so my son is 26 and he would tell you, I hug and kiss him all the time.
I love that so much.
I tell him, like, I call him baby. I call him baby. And I always say, he says, Dad, I'm grown. I say, I don't care. You're always going to be my baby. Yep. I hug and kiss him all the time. Oh. So, you know, but that was self-awareness. And that was me understanding what that was and then working through it and making a different choice. Yeah.
Do you talk about family dynamics on your podcast at all? Or is it really just about the industry?
Absolutely. Yeah, we absolutely
I sensed from you that you would have incredible wisdom and articulation to be able to bring that, especially with your daughter co-hosting.
Yeah,
That'd be
man.
Really cool.
Yeah, because, I mean, parenting isn't, you know, we don't get a pamphlet. You know, it's the easiest thing to mess up, right? Yeah. And a lot of times people have to understand that our parents, us as parents, you know, we're living life for the first time too. Right. So some things we're figuring out. You know, we're not always right. We're not always wrong either. I think, and then, you know, because I have grown children, you know, those relationships, they evolve over time. You know, how I relate to my daughter now as a grown woman, I have to let her be a grown woman. You know, I can't control her. I have to respect her choices and who she chooses to be. Yeah. Some parents struggle with that.
Yeah, I was to say, thank you for saying that, because I totally hear that and have experienced my own thing. I have a great relationship with my parents, but you have been through some of that too.
Yes, of course. And so I think having her young, and my wife, she comes from a different background. She came up with both parents in the church. You know, my wife is half Nigerian, so her father was very strict, you know, structure and all of that. I came from complete opposite. And so with that being said, our disciplinary, you know, the way we discipline is very different. Yeah. You know, she's the disciplinarian, not me. They're scared of her, not me.
I love that.
So I'm the one saying, hey, listen, man, y'all better do this before your mama get home. Yeah. You know, she said do this. I
kind of feel like that was my mom too, actually. So, I love it.
But, you know, my wife, she was more, you know, her dad was, you know, stern, which my father-in-law was more like a father figure to me than anyone. But, you know, he was, you know, Nigerian. This is what I said. No explanation, no give. I said it. Yep. And there it is. Yeah. So my wife is more like that. Yeah. You know, so, and even with adult, it don't matter. Yeah. I said this. I'm your parent. You do it. You know, and I was like,
a little bit of a happy life going on.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, well, nah, babe, you know, she's 30, you know, she's 33. So you got to let that woman be who she wants to be.
Amazing. And I want to be respectful of your time, because I know you have to leave here soon. I could just keep talking to you.
Yes,
but
likewise.
What do you think of Kansas City today versus growing up here? Like, what is your perception of Kansas City when you come back here? And what do you What do you like to do when you're back here?
I love how Kansas City has blossomed.
Yeah.
I can remember when downtown was basically tumbleweed and nothing and dilapidated buildings and all of that.
Yeah.
I loved how they've built up the infrastructure of it. Excuse me. The other side of that, because I'm in real estate, is, when you talk about gentrification, it's good when the natives can share in it. But I think when they're pushed out, then that's where it becomes messed up, right?
Sure.
So it's a gift and a curse.
A little bit of that going on.
Yeah. And that's in most cities, because I travel quite a bit. So but I love it. I think that in our urban communities, and I hate to say that, but it is what it is. I would like to see the crime, go down. It's the same as it was when I was growing up.
Why?
Right?
I'm sure there's no easy answer to that, but I think
absolutely.
everyone's so frustrated, even with World Cup right now. It's like, what is going on? What are we doing?
It's a layered question.
Yeah.
What
can we collectively do to help with this situation? It's so tough.
I think I don't know. I think it's spiritual warfare. I think it's a little bit of systematic. It's cultural things that need to be addressed. We have to take accountability, and I'm speaking specifically in our Black communities. Sure, we know what has happened systemically over the years, but at some point we do have to take accountability for the things that we need to fix. And some of that, as I spoke to that destructive culture. Now, let me say this. Let me be very, very clear. We're only talking about a small portion, as I speak specifically to the Black culture. An overwhelmingly amount of Black people are law-abiding citizens and decent people. We're only talking about that part. But for whatever reason, Black people, we tend to get the little part tends to, people want to overshadow, use that as the representation, But that aside, I think education, I think mental health,
We've come a long way in the world, but still a long way to go.
Yes, mental health, education. I think I think mental health a lot, and then drugs. And this goes across all color barriers, right?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think we got a pill problem. People, they're crazy, man. Yeah. People, we gotta. And social media, it shows you. Like, you can just look at the comments, right? There's psychopaths. There's people that are manic depressive, bipolar, all kind, and it comes through social media.
The negativity, the anger, the everything.
Yes.
I know. I think that's such a good point, and it's the mental health thing. Like, obviously there are barriers to entry to some degree, but then I also, on the flip side, want to be like, you can get so much free advice and guidance and influence even on a podcast, right?
Yes.
It costs you nothing.
Absolutely.
Find a way there, find an outlet on YouTube or social media somehow, a podcast to find some of that could make a good impact,
Absolutely.
I mean, and maybe that sounds a little bit naive of me to say, but it's just, in my world, I'm like, to some degree,
Yeah, but if you're sick, and you don't know, you don't have the
your mind isn't immediately rationally thinking
exactly.
That. No, absolutely.
So I don't. It's layered, man. I think it's just a lot of people hurting. It's a lot of mental illness on different levels, and that exacerbated with substance.
Yep.
So like you said, it's a collective. It's not just a white thing or Black thing or Hispanic thing. It's a collective. So I would like to see, those things in every city, but you asked primarily Kansas City. But I love how we're thriving, though. I mean, the city has changed a lot. I come back and I'm like, oh, God, when they put this there,
right?
Like, this used to be a dump. Like, look at that, right?
Between Crossroads, West Bottoms, different places, the riverfront.
And even in the inner city, like, I was down in the 20s on the east side, like Prospect and all of that. And I'm like, oh, they got condos.
Right.
Oh, wow. Like, this used to be beautiful. The trap. Yeah. Like, so I love how it's evolved and it's diverse and it's thriving. Ultimately, it's progressing. Yeah. So I love that part.
Yeah. And how often do you make it back here?
All the time. I'm usually back maybe once a month. Okay. Sometimes I sneak in and let people know. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Favorite restaurants that you like to go to here?
Oh my God. Well, I eat healthy primarily, but when I'm cheating on a cheat day.
Cheat day. We'll do that.
Cheat day, I eat at Niecy's quite a bit on Truce because they know me. They've known me since I was young, teenager. I used to eat at Captain D's because we don't have one in LA.
Yeah. Where you like to eat healthy, you can do that too. I put people on the spot and they're like, I don't know.
I know, right? Chipotle is healthy for me.
I love Chipotle. I like Cava too.
That's Cava. My daughter does Cava.
Yeah.
Gates, of course.
Yep.
At least once. And that's pretty much it. I'm not really a foodie, I like seafood a lot, so that's
especially being on the coast.
That's what I indulge in.
Perfect. Okay, good. And then last but not least, for you, just in life, but let's do professionally within the world that you're living in. Anything else on your bucket list that you would love to accomplish? We talked a little bit about who you'd want on your podcast that you haven't had yet. Anything else that would be a dream for you to leave behind in your legacy, or what you're accomplishing and building?
That's a great question. You're really good at this.
Oh, thank you.
Let me see. Not to sound like an ass or cliche or arrogant or anything like that, but if I can really be honest, I'm actually living it right now.
Good. I love that.
I'm actually literally living my bucket list.
I love that answer because I think 99% of people would not say that. And I think it shows that you can get there and you can get there at an early age.
Yes.
Or before you turn 85.
I remember there was a older gentleman that I met probably 20 years ago. I was at a real estate conference in Atlanta. He was an older, rich black gentleman. And I remember him telling me, he said, youngster, he said, you get it. He said, but I'm going to tell you, he said, you're really not going to get it and find your stride till you're about 50. When you hit 50, a little bit after 50, that's when you really understand it. And he was right.
And you're like, I've got 2 months as of right now.
Exactly. He was right. There's a clarity that you get, as you get older and you hit this halfway point. Then also, there's a reality check that you have more time in back of you than in front of you as well. So now you're able to really take things in. You're able to look at things on the scale of life of what's important. But then you've kind of learned, if you paid attention, because people can get older and doesn't mean they get wiser.
Sure.
If you paid attention, then you've learned how to navigate things, how to think. You understand how life works.
Yeah.
And so whatever it is that you're passionate about it, that you worked at, along with, it's wisdom. So now you're able to apply wisdom to those goals. So I understand what he was saying because now I've been in alignment. This is the first time I've been like 100% in alignment.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people is Hoda Kotb. I adore her, and she has her podcast and everything else. But I've heard her say that when she left the Today Show, she had turned 60, and she had realized at that moment that she was done, and she wanted to move into this completely other professional path in her 60s. And she said it's been the best time for her because you have so much confidence and things that you can build off of that you've done in all these decades before.
Yes, because I always say that you're never too old to pivot, and you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience.
Yes. I know, and that's a big thing for me right now, so love it.
Yes, I love it.
Well, shout out to Elena Page for connecting me with you.
Shout out to Elena Page. She's so dope. First page, yes. No, it's the next page.
Next page. I know. I told her when she came on, I was like, you're the coolest. I feel like a little kid sometimes.
She's super dope.
You.
When I saw you guys' clip, I saw it. I said, I love this, and Elena's dope, but you were doing such a great job.
Oh, thank you.
I said, oh, no, I need to do that. So I reached out to Elena.
I'm so glad. I know.
No, I need to sit down with her.
This has been great. Yeah. Well, like I said, we could keep talking forever, but you have cities to get to, so we will let you get to it.
And we have the No Limit Cash Money Tour coming up as well.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome.
So that starts September 11th in Houston, so I'll be on tour the fourth quarter.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So good chatting with you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in and finding inspiration in these incredible stories. If you love what you hear, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, leave a rating, and share the show to help these Kansas City voices reach even more listeners.